Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is episode 122 of my brand new Comics Haul series, where I show you guys all the new books that I pick up at my local comic shop every week. My voice sounds a little bit weird, it's just because I'm recovering from some sickness, so that's what's up. But I've got, I think, 7 different issues this week. A lot of them are from Marvel. I've got one from DC and one from Boom Studios that I'll show at the end, but some big releases, so let's just get right into it here with Death of the Venomverse #1. So this is going to be weekly in August. It's kind of a big investment. I think each issue is like oversized also, starting with this big first one. Crazy looking cover there, but to my understanding, the premise behind this so far is just that Carnage, like the version of Carnage that we've seen recently, where it's just the Carnage symbiote alone, separated from Cletus Cassidy with like godlike powers, is going around the multiverse, has somehow found a way to get to other universes, and is just killing all Venoms. Not sure exactly why. I mean, I guess Carnage has always had beef with Venom, but I'm not sure what the exact like multiversal reason is going to be in this book. But we've got Cullen Bunn coming back on board to write this, who also wrote the other Venomverse events that have happened so far, and this is, I guess, the end of the death of the Venomverse, right? Which they recently did a similar thing with End of the Spider-Verse, which didn't really end up meaning anything. So I don't know if they'll end up doing more Venomverse stuff in the future, but really big ensemble of characters here, and I will be curious to see what the deal is with this. I don't think that like Dylan or Eddie Brock are actually involved in any way. But mainly, I'm just curious, like, what the deal is with Carnage being involved, because I know that he still has his own series going on, and he's still got a whole character arc that's, still progressing. So I'm not sure what his role to play is in this, but we'll see about that. I might put out a review of that one, so look out for that. Probably also coming out today. Next up, though, this is one that I picked up off the shelves. I wasn't planning on getting it until I read the Hellfire Gala last week, right? But this is X-Men #25. So it's Fall of X. We're officially into this whole event now. I think also the first issue of that new Iceman miniseries came out this week. So there's a few things that are already tying in. This is also a big oversized issue, but I just had to pick up another X-Men issue after I read Fall of X, because I haven't been reading any sort of X-Men stuff for like almost a year at this point or something. I guess I kind of made the mistake of picking up that Hellfire Gala issue because some really big stuff happened and it got me intrigued and kind of invested in X-Men stuff again, which is, I guess, probably like what they're aiming to do with these new issues. Probably just because people are getting bored of the whole situation with Krakoa, right? With the X-Men being so on top of the world for so long. Now they're just making them fall to a level they haven't been in a really long time and getting rid of everything. I won't say any spoilers because you've got to read that Hellfire Gala issue. There really were some crazy things that happened, but looking forward to reading this. I might start getting back into X-Men, so we'll see about that. But that's #25. Next up, this is a one-shot. I'm not sure how many people are planning on getting this. I'm not sure like how many people have this on their radar, but this is Strange Academy Miles Morales #1. So it's just like a series of one-shots. Marvel does these kind of a lot, where it's like 3 different one-shots that all tell a story all together that are actually 3 parts, but it's not a mini-series, right? And usually just a way to kind of like promote characters that might not be quite as popular as others. So I think they're just being cautious about Strange Academy. After Scotty Young's run ended, the original writer who introduced all the characters, maybe they just don't want to take too much of a gamble in like launching another ongoing series right away or whatever it might be. But we've got a new writer on here. The artwork in here is looking pretty solid. I'm just pretty like dubious so far about how a new creative team is going to end up picking up these characters, because I just really love the whole Strange Academy miniseries. But we'll see. Dynamic with Miles Morales might be interesting. I think they're also doing a Moon Knight issue and a Peter Parker Spider-Man issue. So we'll see. I'm just curious to try it out. But that's Strange Academy Miles Morales #1. Next up, this is one of my favorite ongoing Marvel series. We've got Moon Knight. This is #26. I noticed this tag that they've been putting on some of the Marvel issues this week, where it says, "Where are the gods?" And I looked in the back. It's like a backup page that I think is just done by like the creative team that already did the rest of the issue. Here it is for this one. That's kind of teasing whatever's going to happen in that new Jonathan Hickman God series. I like when Marvel does stuff like that, but as for this Moon Knight issue, this is the one after that big 25th anniversary issue that was really oversized and everything. That kind of introduced us to this new like Knight's End, Death of Moon Knight, I think they're calling it even, storyline that's going on. That Marvel just announced is supposed to go all the way to issue 30, if I'm remembering right. So we might not have too many issues left of this run. I don't know if they're actually going to follow through with killing Moon Knight somehow. That seems kind of extreme. But we're bringing back this like classic villain, Black Spectre, in some sort of new form. And it's like a looming threat for Moon Knight that might actually be important in the long run. So we'll see. I really don't want Jed MacKay's run to end, but I guess 30 issues is pretty long, so it makes sense that he would eventually. This issue looks like it's focusing on Hunter's Moon, though, so that's cool. Next up, though, another Jed MacKay ongoing series from Marvel. I guess he just releases them on the same week. We've got Doctor Strange #6. So good Alex Ross cover there, but I think we've got guest art on this issue. This one has also been good. I mean, honestly, It's okay. I'm not loving it like as much as Moon Knight, but it's still entertaining in a way that a lot of other Marvel like series haven't really tapped into, in my opinion. Where each issue kind of like tells its own story, um, but also there's like an overarching story that connects everything. And right now, that's these mysterious murders around the different magic realms that have been happening, where somebody has been like murdering in cold blood these random magical villains that have always posed like a big threat to Doctor Strange, right? And now that he's resurrected, he's not really aware of what's going on. People think it might be Clea, who was Doctor Strange before he was resurrected. And I'm kind of jumping into the deep end here. I didn't read any of the Clea Doctor Strange stuff, so it's just kind of a fresh start. But I do recommend it so far. Like I said, not as good as Moon Knight, but it's still a pretty good read. Next up, though, we'll move on with DC Comics. I've got one issue from them. It's probably the longest I've ever actually bought a DC series, but this one is Peacemaker Tries Hard #4. I have only read, I think, the first or second issues, maybe just the first two of this series so far, so I can't say too much, but I do remember really loving what I have read so far. That's why I've still been picking it up. I gotta get caught up on this series. But yeah, good writing, good artwork. Mostly I just like how much it feels like the Peacemaker show, if any of you guys have seen that. I really loved that show. I thought it was like funny and everything, and I think they're characterizing Peacemaker really well here. And since it's a Black Label title, it's not like actually set within DC continuity, right? So it's its own thing. I think this is meant to look like John Cena playing the character and everything. And it's just him going on a mission and getting into all kinds of shenanigans along the way. Kind of a silly title, but I feel like DC is trying to publicize Peacemaker a little bit more now that he's got his own show and everything. And I'm sure James Gunn has big plans for him in like the DC movies now that he's taken over all that. So we'll see about this. Peacemaker Tries Hard. I think it's 6 issues, and yeah, I've been liking it so far. Lastly, though, I've got one issue from Boom Studios, another one of my favorite ongoings that I've been recommending since it started. But this one is Once Upon a Time at the End of the World. This is #8. So this is an interesting series, right? The title kind of says it all, but it's just a love story between these two characters, Mezzi and Maceo, who find each other at the end of the world in this apocalyptic wasteland. And so far, we've had like the first 5 issues were them as kids, like growing up and getting to know each other, having to face whatever they did back then. But now we've had a time skip in this new story arc. I think they're probably just going to be doing like 5-issue story arcs that always have time skips in between them, it's seeming like, until the series is over. But we've had them find this like sort of paradise that they've put together where other refugees are welcome, in this place where like the only plant life is flourishing, and it's really the only safe space on Earth that's remaining. But now things are kind of falling apart because not everything's going to stay good for the whole time, right? I like the series so far. Not loving the second story arc quite as much as the first one, to be completely honest. I think it's a little bit too sing-songy and perfect right now, but I think that's maybe the idea because everything's going to come crumbling down eventually. Haven't heard too many people talking about this one. I really do recommend it. So if you're reading this, let me know what you're thinking down in the comments. But those are all the issues I picked up for New Comic Book Day this week. I've still got some reading to catch up on, but a lot of good stuff there, so that'll motivate me to get back caught up on all my pull list issues that I have been denying for a while. But let me know what you guys picked up this week down in the comments section below. If you've been liking the content and you're not already subbed up to the channel, make sure to do that. We're getting closer and closer to the 600 subscriber milestone. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.